destructive a work romance can be. She says her world was shattered when she found out that her husband Jim was having sex with a coworker named Sharon 5 days a week for almost 2 months straight. Gets worse. Not only did he have an affair with this woman, he has now left his wife Linda and the 2 children and moved in with the coworker Sharon. And both Jim and Sharon are backstage, and we're going to hear from them in a few minutes. But Linda, before we hear about what went wrong, you're a very beautiful woman. I can't imagine anybody leaving you. What you are. Tell me about your marriage. You were married 8 years?
Almost 8 years.
Almost 8 years, and like every marriage had its ups and downs.
Oh, yeah.
And you were what you thought was in an up period because you were buying a house together?
Well, we had bought 5 acres together and had bought a mobile home and was planning to build a house later.
Okay, so this was, you know, that's plans for the future. You don't make those plans for the future if things are in absolute chaos. Did you think he was unhappy?
No. I mean, we had our ups and downs in our marriage. We've even separated a few times, but no, I never thought he was unhappy.
So you were on one of the ups, right?
Yes, yes.
Did you know, now that you look back on it, that he was cheating?
Now that I look, yeah, I think about a lot of things. I've put a lot of pieces together.
Then?
Yeah.
No. Then you didn't know?
No, then I had no idea. I mean, he was the type of husband that he would call me from work every day and tell me he loved me and
now, several interesting things. The lady he ran away with was married, and you had them both to dinner?
Yeah, they was at my house 1 week before.
This happened?
Yeah, before it happened.
Okay. Can you tell me how you finally figured out what he was doing at work besides what he's supposed to be doing at work?
Well, he got up on a Saturday morning. It was the day before Mother's Day last year. And he said, I'm going to go to work today. I'll be home early. And I said, well, I'll have dinner ready when you get home. I said, I'm going to go to Terre Haute and buy some Mother's Day gifts for your mom and my mom. And he gave me a kiss and told me he loved me and left, and I didn't see him for almost 4 weeks later.
Huh. How long since you'd had sex with him?
We had it that morning before he left.
When he finally came home 4 weeks later, where was he? What did he say?
Well, he told me that he had an apartment in Tennessee with Sharon, but they had separate bedrooms, and the reason why he left was because Sharon had a boyfriend, and he would fly down on weekends to see her. But he just had to get her away because she had a husband she was just afraid of, and he had to get her away from her so she could continue to see this other man.
Man, that's a story. Okay. Did you ask your husband why he took an apartment with this woman? I mean, you know, being a friend.
He said just to help her. He had to help her.
He took an apartment to help the lady because the lady's husband's abusive and she's with another guy, and he's going to help the other guy by taking an apartment.
That's basically.
Did you buy this?
No, oh no. Right, when he came home that first time after 4 weeks, I'd already filed for a divorce and got a restraining order. I didn't want to know
The story gets worse because Jim is now engaged to this woman, the co-worker.
I think with my engagement ring, too.
With your engagement ring. Local bagel factory. Her boss paid special attention to her. Did you make bagels?
Well, we made the dough, and we shipped it out to the stores.
Okay, but you are not a bagel maker.
No, we had mixers that made a bagel.
All right. You started to work there, and the boss told you that you were just the best thing since bagels, right?
In other words, yeah.
Right, and things developed into what?
Well, I was married at the time, and I told my husband I fell out of love with him, and me and his boss got together.
Me and your boss?
My boss.
Yeah.
Got together. Within a few months, I moved him in. It was great for a year.
Out with the husband, in
And
with the bagel boss.
The bagel boy, yeah.
Right.
The bagel boy.
Right.
I moved him in. It was great for a year, but then history does repeat itself because then another employee, a coworker of mine, he started showing her the same kind of attention he showed me in the beginning.
Did you keep your affair with the boss a secret from your coworkers?
Some of the coworkers knew it, but the vice president of the company and his boss did not know it. It was against company policy.
Okay.
So we hid it pretty well from them.
You left your husband for your boss. You moved in together. He started going out with another worker. The history is repeating itself. You told our producer you remember the day you realized that he, your boss, was cheating on you.
I realized it a long time ago, but they're still having an affair. She's married, and I confronted her husband, and he don't believe it, but she's still having, the thing's still going on. And he tells me I'm crazy, I'm a lunatic, that none of it's true.
All right. You found love notes.
I went through his trash. She tore them up, and I went through his trash. I'm great with jigsaw puzzles.
You have to be if you're putting together love notes. You confronted him. He says you're crazy.
He said,
where are you now? You have no husband. The boss is out with somebody else. Was it right to have an affair?
No.
Are you sorry?
Oh, definitely. I wish I never went to work for that company.
And your work, where you were earning money, where you were happy, you've been forced to quit.
I had to quit and take a $2 cut in pay. Right now, it's still...
From his honeymoon the day after he came home, and we had sex in his honeymoon bed. And I did not know he was married at the time. And when I was there with him the first time in his home, well, the second time when I was there with him, I guess he was afraid that I would hear that he got married because I worked at the station there with him. And he asked me, so they say I got married. And I thought, why is he asking something like that? I didn't, well, did you? He said, no. So I didn't ask any more about it.
So he lied, really?
Yes.
And he had pursued her for 4 to 5 months, right?
Yes.
Were you in love with this guy at this point?
No, not at the time. We were good friends. I felt very comfortable with him. We joked around a lot, and during the process of our affair, I did fall in love with him. I didn't want to. I tried to fight it. I didn't want... When I did find out he was married, I didn't want him to leave his wife. I felt that I could deal with it.
You were kind of stuck. Yeah, because you're stuck. The guy's married. What do you do?
I cared a great deal about him.
Well,
It
let's talk
destroyed
about
me.
your career in law enforcement. A friend and a coworker of his that was also a supervisor found out about their affair and tried to force her out.
He thought because I'm involved with a married man that he judged me, and it looked bad. The guy I was involved with would go and discuss our relationship or our affair with him.
With other people.
Well, mainly with this supervisor friend of his, another detective.
So he's...
He had no respect for me, and so...
He's a snitch, and he's bragging about that. You're trying to become a police officer. Dating the married detective ruined your chances?
Yes. And
Is it worth having an affair?
No. No, because I never did. That was one of my rules, never get involved with somebody you work with.
And the one time you did, there goes that career.
Yes.
It's a lesson.
Yes.
Okay. We'll be right back. She landed a terrific job. She was assigned to a partner. Slowly but surely, they fell madly in love. Right?
Yes,
What
we did,
happened,
Sam.
Tammy?
Well, we started working together, and it was nice working with someone who felt the same way I did about patience and care, and it built over several weeks.
Everyone at work thought you were the perfect couple.
Oh yeah, when we started dating, everyone said, "I'm so glad you guys are together. He's wonderful."
And he was a good father to your children.
Well, I had never introduced anybody I dated to my children since my divorce, and he knew that. And yes, he became very involved with my children. He would pick them up from daycare so that we could meet at the softball field together, and pretended like he really cared about my children.
Well, when you get to the point where you're doing well in work and you're two in love, and he's a good father to your children, and everybody at work thinks this is perfect, then one day something happened. You went to pick up his check, and it had a different address than the one he lived at. What's this mean?
Well, he told me that he lived somewhere There's a residency rule with a lot of our jobs, and I never went to his home with me having children. He was always at my home. What happened was I was on duty. My partner and I chose to go to the address. We went to the address. It was an apartment. He had told me he had bought a home, so obviously there was something wrong.
He's beginning to not sound like a very good liar.
Right, right. Well, he was, but then he had, you know.
You eventually went to a door, rang a doorbell, going to give this guy his check, and an 8-month pregnant woman answers the door. What does she tell you?
She told us that she was his wife, and she told us when their child was due, and that they had bought the house in December. We started dating in January. So he knew the whole time. I called him on my mobile phone from my unit, and he was on duty. His response was, I have a fire, I gotta go. And I said, you know, it's like this, you can either talk to me or I'll go back and get, I had not told his wife, but I threatened him I would. At that time, I wanted to give him the opportunity to come clean with me.
Well, guess what? He's got to get rid of you.
Yes,
The reason he's got to get rid of you is you've now found out about the 8-month pregnant wife. The 8-month pregnant wife has found out about you.
I was a liability at that point.
You
in his
are a
life.
liability. So he
And my
goes
children.
to his supervisor. What does he say to his supervisor?
At first it started that I was stalking him, that I was harassing him, that he never knew me, never dated me.
Never
And-
did.
No.
Place. Ron. Hear this? Why?
It was an excitement thing, Sally. It wasn't to hurt her. It was just an ego booster. Something to boost the ego.
An ego booster. Now wait a minute. It's hard enough to get a guy to come on and tell what you're doing. So we're very grateful to you. Explain it.
Well, my wife's very beautiful and very caring and loving. I got married. I'm very young. And most people my age are out doing things, living life. I got married. I have kids now. And the
It's
excitement...
boring. You're now...
Huh?
I mean, it's boring. All right.
No, it's not boring. It's not boring.
But you needed the excitement.
The excitement to boost the ego to show that somebody else wanted me as well.
When did you have your first... When did you have your first affair?
I had my first affair about 2 weeks after we were married.
Okay, you get bored. You get kind of bored very easily, or you need excitement. What was the first one?
The first one was I was working for a telemarketing company. Me and my wife were having some problems at home. Met this
2
girl.
weeks after your marriage, you're having problems at home.
Well, we've been together for a few years prior to that.
Okay.
But I had some problems at home, couldn't deal with them, turned to someone else for comfort.
Second affair.
The second affair, I was working at, and same thing, little problem popped up. I met this girl beforehand. We knew each other well ahead of hand. And both of us were having problems, and we turned to each other.
Second affair. Third affair.
Third affair, that one was at a place back where we live.
He brought this one into the house and told me that she was gay and that she's having all kinds of problems at home and she needs a place to come over and hang out.
Okay. Fourth affair.
Fourth affair happened I was working for...
Man, you've had as many jobs as you've had affairs.
Damn. Good at it, too. But I was meeting this one girl. This one girl that I met, I had met her before I had an affair with her on my first wife, with this girl. We met up again where I was working. And just went out, took her places.
Ron, why are you telling everybody on national television about these affairs? Why are you here?
Because, unlike this gentleman down here, I feel that it was wrong what I did. I have 3 kids and a loving wife. It took her almost leaving me to realize that the little ego boost I don't need. I need everything that I need, I have at home. And this is my way of apologizing to her.
If you think he isn't going to do it again, and she should know.
He's going to do it again.
Bess's husband left her 3 weeks ago for his second office romance. Bess
Second with this very same person.
Are you disgusted?
Yes, very, very, because I trusted him, and she should. We were talking backstage, and he knows how I feel. She should leave. 3 kids or not, they're going to be better off. And Sharon is a fool. He's going to do it to her. If they don't have any kids,
No, wait a
and
minute.
no, you're going
We
to.
were
The
in
woman
this
my husband
together.
left with
We
is
were in this
Sharon.
together. It's not him.
That's
It's not
right.
me. We're in this
That's
together.
right. But he's going to.
His company is hired by people who suspect that the loved one is cheating on them. Jerry goes out and gets the proof. And Jerry was recently hired by a woman who feared her husband was having an affair with someone in his office.
That's right.
What happened?
And she was right, 100% right. We followed.
Are most women who suspect, are they right or wrong?
I'd say they're right 9 times out of 10.
9 times out of 10. What happened?
Well, in this particular case, she knew there was something going on with a fellow coworker. I shouldn't have a lady coworker. And she knew the name, and we found out it was a woman's birthday that particular day. So we followed the husband from the time he left his home till the time he arrived at work.
From when he left home
Till
to
the
when
time-
in the morning?
In the morning.
I would think that would be a pretty innocent time. We have a tape
Right.
of what happened. Let's take a look, and you tell us what we're seeing. Here it is, early morning. Good morning.
Right. Well, this is lunchtime now. They just went
Oh,
for an
okay.
extended lunch. They were out for about 2.5 hours. They were kissing,
Yeah, but they're in a
hugging.
restaurant. They're
Yeah, they were in
all
a restaurant, but they were all over each other. I mean,
Okay.
at one point, I was going to give them a couple of dollars to go get a hotel room somewhere. But here they are, they're walking along. There he is. This is his girlfriend, remember this. This is her birthday. He bought her flowers that morning for work. And now they, like I said, extended lunch for 2.5 hours, having a few drinks, getting back a little late.
You might have romances, but hands off married people at the office, please.
Thank you. Or hands off anybody if you're married.
It's
please.
only going to complicate your life.
Right.
It's only going to hurt your career. And hands off the boss, okay?
Now,
Don't
Ellen
touch the
has
boss.
said something very interesting. She's a realist. So she says, if you got to do it with somebody
At your level.
on your own level.
And also,
Don't do it with somebody way up there. Don't do it with somebody way down there. Do it with somebody right along here.
Wait.
You gotta do it.
Maybe it should be out of
Wait.
the workplace altogether. Don't have it, and the companies should have a rule that when you're hired, they say no fraternizing, nothing outside of the office.
Yeah, but
They-
we
and
shouldn't
the
do it in the
person
first place to begin with.
All right, let Ellen talk.
the other thing I have to say to people who are contemplating having a romance, not an affair, no affairs at work, please.
No affairs, romances. Go ahead.
Don't
Wait,
do
let
it
her
so
talk.
early in your career. The 3 women in the middle did it when they were just starting out. You need to establish your professional reputation before you establish any other kind of reputation.
Very good
A
advice.
career is a long-term
Let her talk.
investment.
Let her talk.
A career is a long-term investment. You're going to be in it for 40 years. When you're first starting out, you need to work at work and get a reputation as somebody who's a solid professional.
Okay. If it goes sour, what happens?
Well, then you could be sitting next to your bad boyfriend for the rest of your
life.
job.
You're
Yeah.
looking at this person for the rest of your
Yeah.
life. Right? How dangerous is it if it's the boss?
It's very dangerous. And one thing I would say, if you have to get involved with the boss, which I wouldn't recommend, is go to somebody higher and change your reporting relationship.